We've all felt the pinch in our wallets, the high gas prices, the extra high grocery bills, and as a real estate expert, I can attest this is the highest I have ever seen rental costs. Spirit of Innovation takes a look at what's driving this inflation and how it's affecting Riverside County's economy.
With high costs making our pockets lighter, does this mean a recession is coming? Most economists say no, thanks to many factors including a low national unemployment rate and a strong GDP.
No sign right now points to an impending recession. I think we're sort of coming down from an upswing, which was a surge in the money supply from the pandemic, all the aid and unemployment benefits and people saving. And then what happened when the economy opened up, they spent. That kind of triggered the inflation we've seen over the last 2 years. And we're sort of coming down from that high, if you will. If a recession were to occur, and I want to stress that we don't see that as an imminent possibility right now, that any recession would most likely be mild and brief. I do think that Riverside County in general would fare better than average, I would say, just because it has an expanding labor force, it's growing, people want to move there. And so it would fare relatively well compared to other areas of the state.
Riverside County residents haven't escaped the skyrocketing prices of staples, especially the cost of filling up their gas tanks.
Gasoline's up 16.4% year over year in September. There's always global supply chain factors and political factors that drive that. More unique to California, though, there were a couple of refineries that were unplanned outages around the state. And those have kind of impacted supply. What's going to happen with gasoline prices? No one knows, but I would anticipate there's going to be an easing of that just because we're heading into winter. The governor is working to get the winter blend released earlier, which is a cheaper blend of gasoline.
The second highest contributor to the county's increased consumer price index is rent prices, which are driven by those moving to the region seeking relatively cheaper housing.
Rent costs are up 9% year over year as of September. The reason for that is because you have sort of a double whammy, right? You have people moving there to purchase a home or to rent. But at the same time, you have surging mortgage rates and people who are locked into these long-term, like 30-year low fixed rate mortgages. They're not looking to sell. And that's not unique to Riverside County. Unfortunately, I think the housing situation in Riverside County and California in general, I don't see anything dynamic changing in the short term. We're in a huge hole in terms of housing inventory. We just haven't built enough.
While we have all seen our grocery bills go up, you might be surprised to learn that food costs a little less in Riverside County than some other areas of California.
The one thing Riverside has going for it, right, is that it's a major distribution hub. So it doesn't have to travel very far to get to the grocery store from Riverside. To that point, the consumer price index for food in Riverside grew 3.7% for California in general, but for Riverside, it was 3.4%, so a little bit lower.
As we all keep an eye on prices, another factor may affect economic growth over the next 12 months.
One thing that I'm really looking at is the impact of student loan repayments. So we've had millions of borrowers who have not made a monthly payment in more than 3 years. And at this period, we're at the tail end of a surge in consumer spending that's starting to slow down because consumer savings are starting to dwindle a little bit and credit card debt is going back up a little bit. You're probably going to see slower growth next year just because of that. There's reasons to be optimistic, right? I mean, we've had the fastest rate of monetary policy tightening in decades, or maybe ever, I'm not sure. And we still have 3.8% unemployment. We'll see what happens, but I think that right now, as of now, we're heading toward that proverbial soft landing.
When it comes to the economy, a soft landing is a positive outcome. We will see what 2024 brings.